Hello viewers. Today we will discuss the core of digital marketing. How you can make your customers delight. Okay, welcome our guest who eats, drinks, and even breathes digital marketing. Welcome, Neil. So Neil works with Digitaltree as a growth head, and also he worked for various companies at different stages. For example, he has experience working from the startups to even the unicorns. So this is gonna be a very good session where we are going to learn a lot from Neil based on what kind of tactics it worked at the different level and all. Thank you, Neil. Thanks for joining us in this session.
Thanks a lot, Ashwin. It's been a pleasure. I think all of us are at at some stage of our lives at this point. It's a difficult time for everyone, but I'm really happy to join, and I really hope that this discussion gives a lot of insights and learnings for all of the folks who will be tuning in. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, definitely. That's for sure. Right. So, like our audience would like to hear about you and your journey so far. Can you please take us through, your marketing life?
Yeah, sure. So I started my career back in 2013, right? This is
Mhm,
fresh out of college. I was, I think, still in college. So
mhm.
my entry into digital marketing was very accidental.
Oh,
So
okay.
so I was actually, I love designing. So that was my major back in
Mhm,
college. So I joined my first company that was BlazeClan, and they
uh-huh,
used to help their clients set up AWS infrastructure, right? Amazon Web Service
uh-huh.
infrastructure, right? So it was like hardcore software, right? And this back in 2013, where digital marketing is more about, you know, SEO, link building, and stuff like that,
Exactly.
right?
Correct.
Where
Yeah.
digital
Yeah.
has just started penetrating. And yeah, so I started my career there as a designer intern, right? And then I slowly started taking different other pieces of digital, majorly on the organic side of things, right? Be it
Uh-huh.
content, be it uh, writing blogs, white papers, infographics, webinar content, everything under the sun with respect to organic, right? And I was very lucky that my founders gave me like like that independence to actually explore everything. And that time, I think Inbound and HubSpot had just started,
Correct.
coining
Correct.
and propagating
2012, 13.
the
Yes.
like throughout all the geographies, and that's where digital was just penetrating. So I got a good understanding on the content and organic side of digital in the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm,
Then I
mm-hmm.
moved to the paid side of digital, which
Uh-huh.
was in Socrates. So they recently got acquired by Merkle. They are basically a paid marketing company.
Uh-huh.
And there for like close to 2 years, I was working on everything under the sun with respect to ads, majorly on Google and a bit around Facebook. I was managing uh, plus 2 crores of ad spends across 10 plus clients. This was starting with, say, Tata Sky, eBay India, Kotak Mahindra Bank, a lot of others, right? So there I learned a lot on the paid side of things, how to really manage campaigns at scale, right? Because it's a different ballgame when you're doing it for different companies, which are your clients across different industries. Everyone has their
Correct.
own
Correct.
requirements and pain points, and everything, right? So I had a lot of understanding there and learning there. And I think that gave me like an initial good entry into the market, right? Where I had a good understanding of organic, had a good understanding of paid. And that's where so all of this was happening in Pune in Maharashtra. And then I moved to Bombay when I
Okay.
moved to Upgrad. So Upgrad was a very interesting opportunity because
Uh-huh.
so Upgrad is like an online e-learning company, right? So they
Uh-huh.
make these premium programs on digital marketing, product
Exactly.
management, and the like, right? And there they got me in to create the digital marketing program. So this was a 6 month long uh, effort to create more than 150 hours of video content and a lot of other content around that. And then I marketed the program, managed the PNL of the program, worked with the sales, the marketing, all the other teams, right, for the next 8 months across 4 batches, and actually sold the program, right? So that
Mm-hmm,
was a
mm-hmm.
very interesting experience because I got a lot of PNL understanding, a lot of business understanding, right? Not just creating a lot of content, but how do you sell it? How do
How
you
do you
sell a
distribute
digital
it?
marketing program,
Correct.
right, for 80,000 INR, which is pretty expensive in India, right? Way more expensive than like a lot of the other programs out there. So a lot of
Correct.
learnings
Correct.
there,
Correct.
right? And then while I was doing all of that, what I realized was I was actually doing a lot of product marketing things as well while I was doing this,
Mm.
right? So when it came to nurturing the existing prospects, right? We had like thousands of potential prospects who would then finally become like 80 to 100 paid students in a batch, right? So how do you convert them, right? Be it webinars, be it quizzes, be it XYZ, a lot of things, right? So got a lot of exposure there. Also got a lot of industry exposure there because met a lot of heads of growth and marketing at an APAC level, right? Be it in Mobi, be it Microsoft, etc. And that gave me a lot of perspective. But then it also opened out, the entire plethora of SaaS to me.
Mhm.
And that's where, I realized that, okay, this is where the industry is like kind of going
Going.
towards. This
Correct.
is where the
Correct.
future is. And till that point, what was happening was that I was learning a lot of things, but I realized that, a lot of these things are going to probably get stale in like 4 to 5 years, right? They'll have more machines to get all of this done, right? So that's where I was like, okay, like SaaS seems to be very interesting, right? So let's go there. And that's where I moved to Fusion Charts. So Fusion Charts
Right.
is again like this is a very different ball game now. We are now in the data analytics and the data
Correct.
domain,
Correct.
right?
Exactly.
So Fusion
Exactly.
Charts helps in data visualization, right? So there I was heading marketing. Over the 2 years, I did a lot of things around content, around increasing the organic footprint, around converting a lot of our organic traffic. We were getting more than 100,000 uniques a month and doing a lot of paid activities, affiliate marketing activities, content with other freelancers and writers. And with Fusion Charts, the interesting part was I was not just doing SaaS marketing, I was also doing developer marketing, right? So that was a very interesting learning
Mhm.
because marketing to developers is probably the most difficult thing you can do when it comes to marketing, right? Because they are like a no bullshit persona. You can't run ads. You can't do a lot of things with them. You have to be very, very clear about how you do what, right? How do you nurture them with content? They are a very advanced persona. So I learned that. And after that, uh, I had a few stints. One was in the logistics domain, right? So this was a very interesting company, Locus. So I was
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
like heading their digital marketing at APAC, like SCA, as well as India, as well as in improving the footprint in the US, right? So doing a lot of digital marketing campaigns there, revamped the website. So that's one thing that I have been doing for the last, I think, four companies that I've been. Whenever I join a company, the first thing is the website revamp. So I did that in Fusion Charts. That was a pretty long project. And then in Locus also did that and worked with the
Uh,
sales teams. Got a lot of learning, like, selling an enterprise SaaS kind of a product, right? Very, very interesting space. And then after Locus, I moved to Hivo, and Hivo is again in the data space, right? But it is a step before the visualization, which is the entire
correct.
ETL
Exactly. Huh.
ETL space, right? Where
Space.
you
Correct.
basically take a lot of data across different source systems and then you put it in a destination, right? So Hivo
Correct.
was
Correct.
a SaaS
Correct.
tool for that. And there also I like we were just growing the team at that time. So that time, like the pandemic had hit and things were getting difficult. So that's where I decided to like take a break. And even though I had a lot of learnings there, um, especially in the area of not just marketing, but also reaching out and sales and pre-sales. So did a lot of those things because I was heading growth there. So there my portfolio essentially expanded in terms of the role. And yeah, and then I took a break and I got lucky and finally found Delightree. So by the way, that's the name of the company that I'm at currently, Delightree. So it's going to be close to a year working there. It's a remote first company and I'm heading growth there. And yeah, it's a very interesting space that I'm working at and really excited to charter the growth for Delightree forward.
Yeah, that's a wonderful journey, See the transformation, okay, when you where you began the journey and okay, how the each step or each company which you shifted, okay, added lots of, to your experience thing, right? See, just before moving ahead, guys, I would like to give a quick intro about CustomFit, to viewers. CustomFit is all about hyper personalizing your website. CustomFit is a B2B, the hyper personalization platform built for the B2B websites where the B2B marketers can go and create the experiences for different segments of the audience landing onto your website without any code changes. Right. CustomFit to help you in understanding what is happening on the website, what to personalize, when to personalize, and whom to personalize, and then you can get it in a matter of minutes. Right. So if you want any information, go to CustomFit.ai and check out our product demo there. Thank you. Yeah, let's come back. Neil, this was wonderful journey. Also, I would like to know more about your current company. If you want to share something, what you guys exactly do.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll probably speak a little about the industry and then the company
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
most of our viewers can have some perspective because it's something that was new even for me, right?
Mm.
So
Exactly.
Delightree operates in the franchisee business model, right? Specific to the US. Okay. So you've obviously seen a lot of these Subways and McDonald's, etc., right, in India, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are essentially franchises, right? What it
Correct.
means is that
Correct.
there's a company, be it a restaurant, it can be a fitness center, it can be a salon, it can be anything, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then these companies they start growing in terms of number of locations, and they have different owners assigned to them, and that's how
Correct.
they
Correct.
build and increase their family.
Exactly.
Now, in the US, this has been happening for at least 35 to 40 years, if not more. And it's a very,
Okay.
very mature market,
Market. Exactly.
right? And the interesting part is because it's a very mature market, you would expect it to have a lot of penetration from software, right? And the interesting part is that it has had a little penetration with respect to, say, POS systems, for example, or say shift management systems, right? Because what happens in these franchises is that in the US, people are paid by the hour, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're saying that, okay, I've worked 3 hours today is very important to be logged in an app so that I can get paid at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the month. So certain things have been automated and, technology and like apps have encroached certain areas. But the entire aspect of managing operations on a day-to-day basis in the franchisee ecosystem is largely manual still in 2021, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
kind of customer interviews that I have taken and I have had, the liberty to be a part of, I was blown, right? Because I am
Okay. Good.
someone who's
Okay.
been exposed to technology in the last 1 decade, and if like when I use say an Airtable or Pipedrive, or when I use Zapier and integrate my systems, and I am using Excel only for some dirty work which I can't operate, right? And suddenly if someone tells me that, hey, you only have Apple Notes, you don't have anything else, and
Correct.
here are 200 things that you need to do in this month, and these are the 50 people who will be doing XYZ of these 200 things. Now go and manage. And a lot of this is being done manually even in 2021 in this space, which is why software is really not penetrated. So we are working luckily in a blue ocean space and not really in a red ocean space. So yeah, that's a bit about the market. And what Delightree does is Delightree essentially has an app and
Uh-huh.
like a desktop software that
Uh-huh.
helps franchisors, right, the main brand, as well as the franchisee owners automate their day-to-day operations, right? This could
Got it.
be
Got it.
managing their day-to-day tasks, managing compliance, right, doing remote audits, managing quality, because all of this is very, very high standard in the US, right? Everything has to be
Mm-hmm.
done. Otherwise, there are penalties, there are lawsuits, and things can become very, very dirty, right? So yeah, so that's where Delight really comes into the picture, and we really hope to
Exactly.
automate operations for franchisors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a very good space to be in because, as you said, that the market is just opening up, and there's a lot of things to do. And in the US, it's a kind of it's a kind of matured. But if you think about the other spaces, other countries, and all other regions, it's definitely gonna be one of the hot space.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
And Neil, as I see that you guys are going from 0 to 1, right? It's a kind of
hmm
ARR phase where you guys are into currently. What's your plan or what's your take to to the next level?
right, right. So I think at any 0 to 1 growth phase, right,
Mhm,
the most important challenge for someone who's say heading growth, right,
mhm,
is understanding what can work, right?
mhm,
And this is where I think your company and your situation in the market is very, very important to understand. So, like I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned previously, that we are in a blue ocean space. What this
Mm-hmm.
also means is that, like, unlike, say, CRM or help desk softwares, right?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't market understanding already. There isn't that level
Right.
of awareness already, right? So you need to build that, right? So even HubSpot did that in 2012, 13 with
Correct.
inbound, where
Correct.
inbound wasn't a philosophy, right? They made it
Yes,
into
yes,
one,
true, true,
right?
true. Yeah.
So whenever you're in a blue ocean space, I think you have that chance to become one of those forerunners who can introduce something, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where our philosophy is coming from. So at this stage, right, we are looking at all the different channel portfolios and their mixes, right? Be it events, be it paid ads, be it content, right? Be it sales reach outs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the possible combinations of all of these, right? Now, what is very important for us is to understand uh, which of these tactics are predictable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which of these are not. And if there are certain ones which are predictable, what is the scale to which they're predictable? So when I say scale, I'm saying that, okay, can it get me
Exactly.
5 demos a month? Okay,
Uh,
it's getting me 5 demos a month. Can it get me 25 demos a month now? Or where does it fail? Okay, it fails at 10.
correct, correct.
Okay, so that's where I know this channel is kind of okay. Can I hybridize this channel now with
Uh-huh.
something else, right? So we are at that stage, a very, very interesting stage, right? We
Yeah,
tried
seriously.
events, we tried paid ads, we actually are trying a lot of sales, reach outs and inbound reach outs at this point. We're also doing an interesting content exercise, and I think we can talk more
Mhm.
about that later. Yeah.
Sure, sure, definitely. I mean, I guess, okay, the expertise what you got, okay, during these years working for the different stage and different segment and all right. I guess, okay, that's coming handy to you when you're just swimming in this blue ocean kind of the thing.
Oh yes, yes, yes. That's a big thing because Ashwin, I'll be honest with you. In all the other places that I worked at, right, the initial fitment was tested. It was just about scaling, right?
Correct, correct.
I have done that so many times now that it's hardwired, right? So for the first time, when I'm looking at this from scratch, right, at this company, this is giving me this vision that okay, I know what it's going to be like later, right? But what is it going to be now, and can that later match with now, right? So yeah,
Makes
I
sense,
I think
makes
I think
sense.
that experience is definitely coming in handy. Yeah.
True. Because what actually happened in our case, right, when myself and Shohei, when we started our journey as an entrepreneur, so CustomFit was not initial idea in mind. We started with the concept called as backbuckle.io. At that time, it is
Okay.
a very funky, it's a feature as a service platform. It's a
Okay.
FaaS. We coined the term FaaS, like feature as a service
Uh-huh.
platform,
Okay.
wherein you can go and get any of these features on the shelf, like
Mm-hmm.
off the shelf directly, and get it onto your application. For example, say if you want to build a Swiggy kind of the app, okay, the core feature which you
Okay.
need to develop is the one that connects the restaurants and customers, right? But to get your
Hmm.
feature out in the market, apart from couple of these services, you still need to write so many other features like user management, resource management, API
Right.
aggregators,
Right.
rating, bunch of
Right.
the things, right?
Right. Right.
The concept there was
Interesting.
you just focus building that core features, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and rest, okay, you can directly get from the backbuckle because we were providing a portfolio of 30 ready to use features. That's the
Got
name,
it.
okay, feature as a service platform, right? So
Hmm.
that was the
Got it.
thing what we launched initially. And even
Okay.
our story also goes, till that. Like when we started marketing our platform, right? Since actually we were catering to different segments, okay, different industries, and like basically the different customer personas and all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to showcase my website completely different for different segment of audience. Say that when an
Hmm.
e-commerce visitor lands onto my website, I wanted to showcase that backbuckle website as if, okay, this is the platform tailor-made for the e-commerce features.
Got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
exactly, these
Yeah.
are 10 features over there, or these are all the case studies given by the e-commerce companies and all. Now,
Hmm.
say that
Hmm.
a visitor from SaaS background comes onto the website. I wanted to showcase, hey,
Hmm.
these are all the 10 features.
Very
Okay, this is
interesting.
backbuckle is meant for this thing. But when I started looking out in the market, right, like to just change my website into that thing, at that time I found these age-old A/B testing kind of the platforms wherein
Right.
I
Right.
experiment, right, and not to experiment which one works. Okay, I know that okay
Hmm.
that one works. Like I wanted to give a personalized experience, okay, and that too
Mm,
think in a way that when they land onto my website, based on
mm,
what kind of the features they are looking at most, next time when they come entirely, it will be focused on that thing, right?
right,
So
right,
that
right.
was the one of the point, and then what happened was among the different portfolio of the features, there was one feature at that time which we were prouding. We named it as broadly personalization and behavior management.
Mm,
And we started getting a lot of hits to that one feature, okay, among the different
mm,
features what we are providing.
mm,
Then
mm.
when we went and inquired our customers telling that, okay, hey, what you are using this for? People told that we are using for the feature management, website personalization, bunch of the things. Then we started focusing on that one feature and okay,
Hmm.
kicked out the other thing. That turned into custom fit today. So if you see,
Wow,
that's the
wow,
journey behind
wow.
okay, how we reached.
That's very interesting, and it kind of like I'll just take a quick note here and mention this. So like even with respect to Delightree,
Mhm.
right? Very interestingly, like our founders are like Y Combinator 2017 batch, right? And
Mhm.
they had like a previous company called Surveyor, right? And
Mhm.
they were
Mhm. Mhm.
making like upwards of 600K ARR, right? And they were doing pretty well. And the
Mhm.
interesting part was their app or tool was helping restaurants majorly, right,
Mhm.
manage their online and reputation portfolio, right? What are
Okay.
their
Uh-huh.
reviews on Yelp, this, that, and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
they tried to take all of that data and help these brands, right, figure out that okay, what needs to be done better. And
Okay.
doing this, right, they got a lot of exposure in that market. And while they were doing this, they realized that hey, even though we are doing this, we are so far away from actually making an impact to these businesses.
Correct,
And that's
correct.
where the entire, like, the evolution and that thought process of let's help them automate the operations because they are doing everything so manually right now. And they figured out from
Mm,
all of their
mm.
previous conversations, right? And that stirred the idea and that this helped in the market discovery. And I think that's a very interesting lesson, like when it comes to pivot, right? Like when do you pivot? How do you pivot? But yeah,
Correct, correct. That's
yeah.
the timing, and also one thing what we learned is, and we pivoted very quick, okay, within 6 to 8 months time period.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like so that's one of the best decision. One thing what we advise to our fellow founders and all, don't fall in love with your what you do. Sometimes, okay, don't
True,
fall in
true,
love with
true.
your idea. Always you need to make sure that whether the market needs that thing or not, and you need to,
Very true,
yourself
very
bound
true.
to that.
Market validation at like every step, like even if you have hit like
Correct,
XK revenue, still,
correct,
yeah,
correct.
very important. Yeah,
Sure. Good, good. Let's move ahead. Like,
yeah,
see, Delightree, has recently featured in a booklet called "Technology to Automate Operations," right?
right.
Where your team mentioned about the impact and cost of automation.
Hmm.
What do you think about the need of this automation in this marketing sector?
So you're saying the importance of automation in marketing, right?
Correct, correct, exactly.
Right. So okay, so here, okay, so the way I look at it is, so when it comes to automation, I think there are so many tools right now
Mm-hmm.
in the market, right? With respect to your typical automation,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Be it say making sure email drips are going, you're downloading a form, emails are going, that's going and triggering some note on a CRM, that's updating the lead status somewhere else, and you have a marketing automation platform that's doing a lot of these things, right? Some of them
Mm-hmm.
are also helping you personalize content on the website. I think CustomFit does that really well. But I have tried a few in the past, right, where I've not had a lot of success, right? But point here is that I think the basics of automation, right, of just making sure tasks are getting done, right? I think that to a large extent is kind of a solved problem, right? Just with respect to marketers automating certain processes, right? But I think beyond just looking at a tool and what it can do, I think what marketers need to give more time is to understand how can they not just automate like tasks, but also to a certain extent automate their day-to-day lives. So what I mean by that, I'll give you a few examples, right? So one example that I found recently is when it comes to design, right? Now, marketers, a lot of their work directly or indirectly, especially if you are like a product marketer, if you are a marketer in a smaller team, you end up doing a lot of the designing work yourself, be it on Canva, be it on Figma, etc., etc., right? But as your team grows, right, there's a design team who's taking over, etc., etc. So if you have a design system and a set of templates in place, right? Where you know that, okay, these are the variations of my landing pages, these are the variations of my event banners, these are the variations of XYZ. And all of that is created in one place. And that's regularly updated with brand guidelines, designs, etc. That really increases like the speed at which you can go live with your experiment, be it a landing page, be it an ad, right, be it a banner, be it a content piece, right? So I think automating goes beyond the typical automation of just tools and integrations, right?
Makes sense.
It
Yeah.
also goes to processes, I think.
Correct.
And I think that's what marketers in today's world need to understand, that how do I kind of automate and templatize the work that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis where I'm not
Uh-huh.
putting in a lot of my mind,
Uh-huh.
right? So how can I optimize 80-90% automate that part, keep it ready, and then use my time thinking, looking at data, right? So yeah,
Yeah, and really very well said. Like this is, we should even take a note of this thing.
yeah.
So,
Because design actually, because sorry to cut you there, but design
no, no, please.
actually
I was just asking
was,
on that thing.
yeah, so design actually takes a lot of your bandwidth, especially if you're a small team, right? And you end up
Correct.
getting through iterations and all of that. But if you automate
Exactly,
that,
exactly.
that's like, and it's not just that, right? It's like you can take a lot of these, when it comes to automation, I think marketers should take a lot of learnings from sales teams, right?
Correct,
Because
correct.
when sales teams, the entire SDR philosophy and the entire SDR to like calling to inbound to like converting calls, demos, that entire process is so well optimized that you can literally call it automated to a great
Correct,
extent,
correct.
right? And how can you test if it is, if you can scale it by 10x or 15x,
Mm.
right? And I think those are certain things that marketers are now beginning to realize, right? Like for example, again, I'm probably jumping topics here, but
No,
just
no,
an
please.
example here, like
Yeah.
when it comes to say building content,
Uh-huh.
right? I can hire five guys in house, right?
Mm-hmm.
With a salary, and like it'll take them 3 months to onboard, understand the
Correct.
product, the market, and everything. And then I realize that okay, they're not that good, right? It takes me 3 more months to build a process, right? Whereas I can get an agency or I can get a freelancer, right? Who can do the same thing, but maybe not all of, but not write all these pieces of content, right? But maybe
Mm-hmm.
some of them. So I think
Correct,
what's
correct.
very important is like even in this gig, right, when it comes to content, right, understanding that process. How can you
Mm-hmm.
build like a process which keep on churning content in a regular pace,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think with different examples, marketers should focus on automation, not just at a tool level, but at a thought level as well.
Yeah, man, that's really nice. You put it in a very good way there. Right. So, yeah, like tell me one thing. Like how should a SaaS company plan its content on a website? Since actually we just started talking about the content thing, right? So,
Yeah,
what kind of advice
yeah.
you want to give to the fellow marketers, like how they should plan the content?
Hmm. So I think over the years, because I've had a lot of experience revamping and building a lot of websites, building content hubs, right? What I've realized is that these days, when it comes to marketers, sometimes we stop questioning our first principles, right? Which is
Uh-huh,
that,
uh-huh.
does my website need just 5 pages? Does it need 50 pages? Does it
Mm.
need 50 pages backed up with 500 other content pages? Right? What is the need? What is the requirement? Right?
Correct.
Uh, if there is already existing demand out there, right? And that's where I
Mm-hmm.
think the backbone of content or writing content is keyword research at the end of the day, right? Not to fill your pages with keywords, but to understand demand, right? That's there, right? Like
Correct.
again, I am in a white space right now. Sorry, I'm we are in a blue ocean space, right? Where not a lot of people are like writing or searching for automating operation, right? But they look for, say, OSHA audit inspections, inspection reports, risk
Mm-hmm.
assessment, this, that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to get at is that before you even think about your website, and here I'm talking as the website as a product, because in most
Hmm.
SaaS
Okay.
companies, a
Correct.
website is
Correct.
an extension of the product, right?
Exactly.
It is
Exactly.
your
Huh.
first part of the funnel. And
Correct.
all of your other content pieces around it, right? I like to envision it as a content hub, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Where your website has these core pages, right?
Hmm.
Which is the core website pages, right? Your home, your solutions, your this, your use cases, blah, 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 your typical format. And then you have your huge content hub around it, right? So my point is that whenever someone thinks about a content hub or whether they need to build one or not, they need to first do this exercise and see what kind of demand is there in the market, because that is going to shape what, what kind of content you will even write. Like if I start writing 100 blogs about how to automate operations, it's going to tank unless I have like $1,000 every week spending on different channels and promoting my blogs, right? Or like speaking to 50 other influencers and doing a co-partnering program with them and launching those on their websites, right? Unless I do all of that, writing this is of no use. So what I'm trying to get at is that when it comes to this content hub, there is a kind of a hub and spoke model here.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
Okay.
Huh. Huh. Huh.
So what that does is, so like you start understanding that, okay, you have your search intent, you have your ICP, that is like your personas, right?
Hmm.
You start understanding what kind of content A is already written a lot and there is so much out there. And that is also
Hmm.
now a consideration nowadays, right? Do I write
Hmm.
about the
Hmm.
same thing? How do I cut through
Correct.
the clutter? How will Google understand and push me through the search ranks?
Mm.
It's very important,
Correct. Correct.
right?
Correct.
Now, while I understand that, I also need to understand that, okay, when it comes to my personas, right? How are they actually going to perceive this content? Is this content even relevant? Okay, if it is, then at what
Exactly.
stage of the journey is it, right?
Correct. Correct.
So all of those journey points understood, right? You start developing the hub and the spoke, right? So imagine like a bullseye with rings,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And at the center you have your core content, which is essentially pushing for a demo, right?
Correct.
And then the outer rings start having more indirect pieces of content. Now, the beauty
Hmm.
is that in
Hmm.
most cases, the indirect pieces of content are things that are mostly being searched about, right? And that has the search volume. You can do the math,
Correct.
that has the
Correct.
search volume,
Correct.
right? So,
Correct.
how do you
Correct.
push those people from those outer rings to your inner
Two
rings,
inside thing. Correct.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That starts, that is the feedback loop to your content calendar,
Makes sense.
right? And that's sadly like when people start thinking about content, they do keyword research, they do this,
Ah,
and they
exactly.
just start pushing blogs, right? It just doesn't work like that anymore, right? So I think when it comes to a SaaS company, you have your core pages. Yes, you like optimize the shit out of it, like
Hmm.
right, like
Hmm.
you do a
Hmm.
lot of A/B testing on it. You figure
Hmm.
out what
Hmm.
your competitors are doing, all of that, right? That's a
Hmm.
written
Hmm.
playbook.
Hmm.
It's already
Hmm.
done.
Correct.
But when
Correct.
it comes to the content hub, right, what's very important is to understand why and what kind of content, where will it rank, right? Like, for example, if you are doing this interview right now and you have an interview series, how are you going to get that interview series ranking, right? Or
Correct.
whether it doesn't matter for it to rank because you're going to push it to, say, 50,000 people plus on LinkedIn. And that's your growth method there. So that justifies your content validation here. So all of this needs to be reverse engineered and understood
Hmm.
even before you start charting out content, because it is a very expensive process which people don't understand, right? You do it for 6 months and then you see that there's nothing coming in and then you shut it down.
True, man.
It
This is
doesn't work
very,
like
very,
that.
very valuable information. Okay, I just want to why our viewers to underline this question answer thing because this will save a lot of your time. Like
Yes.
we also went through that the curse loop. Like basically we started the direct thing and then okay we
Mm.
now fine tuning everything around not just you're right. Okay, putting the content over there. Okay, with just around certain keyword that now doesn't work in one.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So
You
we
you
need to
have to,
build these content.
you also have to be, like platform, like on one end you have to be platform agnostic when you're thinking about themes and patterns of
Hmm.
content and your personas and everything, and you have all of that in one place, right? Then you
Makes
look
sense.
at your channels and then you see that, okay, this I'm writing, this will be the format, it will go on Google. This I'm writing, this will go to 50 influencers on LinkedIn. This I'm writing, this will is for an event that will get propagated. So all of that has to be planned. Otherwise, the value of that content is not going to come in. Because at the end of the day, what do you want? You want 50,000, 100,000 plus traffic coming in every month which is giving you 50 plus demos. That's the magical thing, right? You want to hear. But to build that,
Correct.
it requires time. But you can only
Correct.
build that if you
Exactly.
have predictability. And I think one
Mm-hmm.
thing here, when it comes to content and a SaaS company, most people look at a lot of these keyword tools, which is great. You look at Ahrefs, SEMrush, all of this does. It's great, right? Do that. They look at data on Google Analytics. That's also great. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't look at GSC, like Google Search Console, right? Because
Correct.
for those, because in the industry that you're in, right, there are certain industries where you push your content out, it starts ranking on the third, fourth page in 4 days. There are industries where it takes 4 weeks, right?
Correct.
So Google Search Console helps you predict and see your pages across Google's
Exactly.
pages on how
Correct.
it's moving across. And people don't look at that. People just look at how much of traffic am I getting, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So no,
So
that's true.
these are some things that I think marketers should definitely look at. And also the other metric which is very important is when it comes to content as well, right? Is how much of that content is going back to your website, right? What is your next
Mm.
page visit? How much of that is going to your core website? How much of that session traffic is actually converting into a demo? And then when you have
Correct.
3 month
Correct.
data of that, you can then start analyzing patterns that, okay, this kind of content is actually resulting in demos. This kind of content is just resulting in a lot of traffic, which
Correct.
is high
Correct.
bounce shit traffic, right? So,
Correct.
yeah.
That's very true, man. Like basically, like when we started, no, making more and more, getting closer to our visitors. I mean, basically our users, the
Hmm.
marketers, right? So one initially itself, we realized the problem with the marketers that no, until unless you make them understand their visitors, okay, it will be very hard them to go and do the personalization. Right? So until unless you understand what to personalize, when to personalize, and whom to personalize,
Hmm.
it's a kind of guesswork, right? So
Correct.
when we
Correct.
started that thing, we started with that part first. Okay, fine. Okay, now we have
Hmm.
this personalization engine. Now, how can we help the thing, like, help the marketers to avoid or reduce the guesswork thing? So that's where we started with our flagship features like Journey Analyzer,
Hmm.
like basically Journey Explorer, Event Analyzer, and all. Like it's very much need for you to understand what is happening on the website, right? Typically, marketers look at three important metric, right? One thing is how many impressions that ad is giving me. So how many
Yeah.
people landed on my website, and third thing is how
Yeah.
many got converted. Like basically, okay, went to my sign up demo and
Yeah.
all those things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What we say is between these 2 points, okay, the metric which says how many people landed onto your website and how many got converted, hell lot of things can happen over there. It's a completely gray area for you. So you need to understand the moment a visitor lands on your website, how are they walking on the website? What kind of turns they are taking? What kind of twists they are undergoing? Where are they seeing friction? Where are they bouncing
Hmm.
off? From various
Correct.
different angles. Like for example, if you see
Correct.
today, you can go and analyze a small segment of audience. Say that hey, I want to understand the behavior of my audience who came from that one LinkedIn post, who landed
Hmm.
onto my website for the second time, okay, who is already MQL in my HubSpot, and
Hmm.
who is from this particular region, say California, right? So
Right.
the one beautiful thing what actually the custom fit does is it stitches the data across multiple sources. And using
Hmm.
that thing, you can go and do a fine-tuned research and see exactly. We say it's a telescopic to microscopic view. Okay, you can just zoom in, zoom out
Correct.
to understand
Correct.
what is happening, right? So that has given
Hmm.
us an edge. Like whenever actually we go and talk, we just say that okay, our tool helps you in understanding what
Hmm.
is happening and then getting you personalized, no, your content without any code thing. That's a three thing that getting us a lot of interest into custom fit.
That's very interesting. Yeah, because I kind of agree with that. Like, even though I have not had a lot of success with personalization tools, right? I've had it on email, even on
Hmm.
landing pages, but not really on websites. But I do agree that when people look at these matrices that you're talking about, right? These are objective,
Correct.
okay? And they can give you volume data, meaning that they can give you indications. But
Hmm.
you need to look at the subjective data as well, right?
Exactly. You're
And the
right.
subjective
Yes.
data is where, heat maps and like journey maps come into the picture. So
Correct.
even like
Correct.
I can give you like a quick point here. Like when I was in Hivo, right? That time I was
Mhm.
using a tool called, I think Smart Insights. They were recording sessions, right?
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I manually went through recordings of 200 plus people,
Okay.
which was cumulatively, I think, 30 to 34 hours of recording.
Okay.
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 To manually, so I had figured out a pattern of them coming to the website. them starting the demo, and then
Mm-hmm.
then them finally like finishing the demo. So they had to connect different data points basically,
Correct,
right?
correct, correct.
So I put all of those points, those subjective points, as
Mm-hmm.
flags. Okay.
Okay,
And then
okay.
I put an analysis that how many people are
Ah,
dropping at what stage by just
correct,
looking at the
correct.
recording. Now, if I
Exactly,
had set up
exactly.
event trackers for each of them, which then, so basis that analysis, the tech team actually went and put event trackers, saying that, okay,
Okay,
this
okay,
works,
okay,
right?
okay.
And that's how we analyze that, okay, this traffic, when certain these like people are searching for, say, a data source X or Y, that's how they landed
Uh-huh,
on Kivo,
uh-huh.
they are converting better.
Got it, got it, got it. True, true.
So yeah,
So
I
yeah,
definitely
that's one of the
agree.
point even
Yeah.
in our thing also, right? Like basically with the custom fit, one can go and add the visual trackers. You no need to even go behind the dev team to add it. You can directly go with our visual
Hmm.
editor and say that, hey, I want to track the people who came to this thing, did this operation. Just will
So
send us
it's
a
no
detailed
code, no
things and
code.
everything. Yeah, it's a kind of no, that was the main thing, right? Since actually we started from that background, how can we help these B2B marketers?
Right,
Like
right.
that's the main essence what we started with. Anyways, let me just go ahead. I want to understand what techniques do you use, to know what product features are most liked or disliked by your customers. Like how do you
Okay.
interact? How do you get the inputs, or how do you gauge on that?
Hmm. So to be honest, at different companies, it has been quite different, right? But
Correct,
I'll
correct.
probably
Because
give
in
you the
your case,
example at, yeah, yeah, because
correct.
I've worked at different stage companies, right? So, but I'll probably give you the example of Delightree because
Uh,
here we are probably at a stage where uh, that feature understanding or listening to what is important is the most important, right? Because we are in that
mm-hmm.
stage right now. So I think for us, customer feedback is the most important, right? So
Exactly.
basically a
Mm-hmm.
feedback loop, right? So you again, it's a process where at a regular interval of time, you are doing demos, you are doing feedbacks, and all of that is getting, say, put on an Airtable or an Excel or whatever, basis different types of features that you have initially hypothesized,
Uh-huh.
right? Basis what the market needs. And then basis X number of feedback, you then uh, start making changes, right? So for us, what we do is that we have two sources. One is definitely these interviews that we keep on doing with our customers, right? And the other more important one is our customer success team. I think that is a gold mine of information, right? Because customer
Mm-hmm.
success team with their day-to-day interaction, right? The way they understand the intricacies of which product feature is really helping a customer versus which is really creating friction. They understand that.
Mm-hmm.
They have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of data points on that. So regularly meeting with the customer success team, more importantly, creating a process where they can log different types of observations around different features,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And using that to then see that, oh, do we need to add something on top? Do we need to remove this? Do we need to modify this? But I think for us that customer voice is very important. And what is more important is how do you extract that customer voice with minimum friction, but
Correct.
get
Correct.
actual data, right? And the only thing which I think a lot of companies kind of make a mistake is the sample set bias, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
say you're rolling out a new feature, right? Or say you have a new product, right? And it's just the first 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
100 seems a lot, but when you are looking at it with respect to say 1,000 or 10,000, it's not a lot, right?
Correct.
So it's very important to understand for your feature and your industry, right? Sorry, your product and your industry, what is that sample set, right? Because
Exactly.
for
Mm-hmm.
different, because in certain industries and certain target audiences, right, five is probably enough.
Correct.
Five is
Exactly. Uh-huh.
statistically significant. In certain other cases, there are so many micro variations, you probably need to hit 30 so that you can hit five of those micro variations of the
Correct.
personas.
Correct.
And then you say that, oh, yes, at least 30 are saying that this feature has this. So hence I will add it to my desktop version, right?
Makes
Otherwise, you
sense.
can't just listening to your customers and just do everything under the sun just for a few, right? So that way
Exactly.
you'll have built everything and nothing at the same time.
True,
So
true,
yeah.
true. No, that's very true. Even at our end, right, we have certain series called as feature fit. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so not just getting the inputs, we also take the inputs from our customers for the items which we have in the on the roadmap. We
Right.
every
Okay.
2 months we meet. Okay, even before trying to put down any effort in that even ideation thing. Okay, so we try to discuss with a bunch of the prospects and customers. We are open to discuss the ideas. We don't share out about these things or features and all. So that gives
Okay.
us a lot of good inputs
Hmm.
ahead of the time. Okay, it's not even okay, having couple of meetings. We have this
Hmm.
forum like where our employees, anyone, okay, even the guy who joined a day back, he can put forth his
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm.
So we will have this kind of mashup of the ideas, okay, once a month, and then once 2 months we just go and say, hey, these are all the things which I'm working. It may come in the next December, but this you please let us know, okay, this thing.
Hmm.
And
Right.
and also what we try to add there is not just customers saying, okay, whether I like this idea or we want to use it. We also try to ask them, okay, fine, what's the money on the table for that feature? Okay,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter,
Got it.
okay, if he
Got it.
likes or not. I mean,
Yeah.
it
What is he
matters if
willing
he
to
likes.
pay?
What is he willing
Yeah.
to pay? Okay, certain
Yeah.
things, and that we learned. Okay, in the first two meetings, we were just okay, telling, hey, this you need these features, or what's the no, what's the rating you want to give for this
Hmm.
functionality,
Hmm.
or how critical is this thing? Some of the things. Right, so then actually we slowly started adding the weightage to that. Okay, fine, good that thing. Like for us to prioritize, not just based on the friction, what kind of the money you want to put it on the table. Right, those
Hmm.
two things helped us to gauge what what we are trying to achieve in the next 2 to
Got
3
it.
months.
Got it. Got it. That's very interesting. I think one more thing that has also helped us is building Figma prototypes, where
Uh-huh.
you actually don't build like everything, right? You build like a low fidelity wireframe or a high fidelity wireframe,
Hmm.
have a like a connected prototype on Figma, and that's like pretty quick. You can flesh it out in 3, 4 days, and then you
Correct,
can roll it
correct.
out, right? And do like a few interviews, see the fitment mapping, right? And then you actually take it live internally. So yeah. I think
Makes sense.
customers always, yeah,
Yes,
especially in
yes.
a blue ocean market. In a red ocean, I think you have a lot of competitor signals. You have a lot of
Ah,
content
correct, correct,
from
correct.
competitors to actually see, copy, paste, modify. But yeah,
Makes sense, makes sense.
yeah.
And yeah, let's move it. How do you devise a funnel for a channel? I mean, can you please share an example where from a paid campaign, or say or you can also take from your referral campaign or partnership campaign.
Okay, okay.
How you
So,
devise a funnel for a channel.
right. So I think I think this concept of funnel marketing is becoming more and more center stage for all marketers, be it someone who is managing paid or demand gen, be it a product marketer, right? Be it any kind of marketer, because
Uh,
slowly what's happening is that you own the funnel, right? Someone might help you in different parts of the funnel, but you own the funnel. It's like when
Correct,
you own the
correct.
sales team, right?
Exactly.
You own the revenue, right? It's like that. So owning the funnel is very important. And so when it comes to devising a funnel, I think it's very important to understand what's your goal, right? So say for example, you have a goal which is say a North Star, where you're saying that okay, this
Mm-hmm.
quarter I want to get these many demos in or these many intro calls in, okay, and then you start reverse engineering that okay, for that I have say these kinds of channels in place, right? And then you say look at one of these channels, okay, and when it comes to that channel, I think what's important is people just look at the audience which is available in different ways, right? And then they do some conversion rate mapping, and then they say that okay, we'll get this. Now let's spend $3,000 on this, right? I think what's very important is to understand different points of that channel. And the first point is so from say a paid campaign, for example,
Mm-hmm.
your first
Mm-hmm.
point is that ad itself, right? If it's a
Correct.
display ad, right? How do you cut the clutter, right? What's your CTR? What's the industry average CTR? How many X's are you better than that industry average, right? Because your
Mm-hmm.
CP, your like your cost per 1,000 impressions, right, as well as your cost per clicks are going to go down because of that,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Now, once say you have figured out that part of the funnel, so I look at all of these parts as parts of the funnel, right? Because if you have a campaign and you're targeting, say, 80,000 people on LinkedIn of certain
Mm-hmm.
industries,
Mm-hmm.
blah, 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 and you have just this particular creative and this content on top of the creative, right? And this is what your conversions are to your landing page, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Mm-hmm.
also a part of the funnel, right? Now, say you
Correct.
have started optimizing that. You are A/B testing with other uh, targeting options. You're A/B testing with other creatives. You're A/B
Mhm.
testing with other positionings itself, right? We have even done that, where in certain cases we
Mhm,
showcase a
mhm.
mobile app and say that, okay, automate this, 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 this. In another
Okay.
creative, there is like a franchisee owner who's looking at his phone, and we say
Mhm,
something
mhm.
like 2021, everything's going digital. Are you?
Mhm,
Right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
indirect, direct, like different types of combination, right? And we then see
Got it.
which variant is optimizing that part of the funnel. Now, then comes the next
Correct.
part, which is the landing page. Right now,
Mhm.
all of this sounds very trivial, but if you don't do this in a very disciplined way for each of your campaigns across
Mhm,
each of your
mhm.
channels, right? Even if it is content. So I have now started in a way where I actually, for all of my content pieces, right, which are say
Uh-huh.
SEO centric or SEO driven, right? I actually have contextual downloadable material to check the conversion rate of that channel because that lead
Okay.
base that is forming on all of my content downloads, right,
Uh-huh.
is eventually going to become a prospect base in the future in 6 to 9 months of nurturing,
Makes
right?
sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that all types of marketing activities are can be made into funnels, right?
No, that's
If
very
if
true.
you if you if you can really understand the different steps involved in that, and then you start optimizing. Those are levers, right? And then from click to landing page, you start optimizing everything on that end. I think that's where someone like a custom fit really comes into the picture, right? A post-click optimization, right? And
Correct.
then
Correct.
even after that, right? Like once that person has become a lead, then that part of the funnel is not really over, right? How many of those have converted into demos? How many of those demos have actually converted? What kind of audiences are actually converting? So then reverse engineer back to the top of the funnel and then rework on your targeting, right? So it's a
Correct.
feedback
Correct.
loop on and on and on again, right? And I think
Okay.
that's how you devise a funnel. It can be
Correct. Correct.
at a macro level across all your channels or specifically for your channel, or even within your channel, a very specific segment, like say remarketing, where you're just running
Correct.
remarketing ads. And that has a particular funnel in itself.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
anything which is able to uh, a metric that is adding something at a business level, be it a demo,
Correct.
be it a nurture lead or
Mm-hmm.
something,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah,
No, that's very true. And like even what you said, okay, the funnel doesn't just ends with the conversion, right? Okay, the demo thing. Even it can go till the lifetime of a customer. Like for example, certain
exactly.
funnels, like say what we say is, like say that okay, when your existing visitor, your existing customer lands onto your website, you no need to showcase the same Venla page because it's already sold. Now it's a
Hmm.
entire, like it's wonderful opportunity to talk about the new features, new functionalities. It's all about upselling and cross-selling thing,
Right,
right? So your
right.
website can completely change its entire tone. So it adjusts itself, okay, understands, okay, hey, this is the visitor using these, he's in this plan. How can I push him to the next plan? Or he's using these functionalities. How can we push him to the add-ons? Right. So and the feedback loops keep on going. Because one fee, like one, when
Yeah.
he goes from one stage to another, again, okay, that can be fed back that what made him to go from this stage to this, so that can be applied to the
So,
others always.
so if you remember that question that you asked me some time back, right? Like what do you think about automation, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Correct.
I think this is one of the things that needs to be automated, which is feedback loops. Feedback
Mm,
loops
makes
exist
sense.
everywhere, but feedback loops by nature as human beings or as marketers, for some reason, like we are very reactive. When a campaign fails, when it is incurring too much of cost, that's when you start looking at things, right?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
But feedback loop should be like an ongoing process,
Correct.
continually optimizing every step. And hence you
Makes
should
sense.
set up a process for it. Otherwise, you will never do it, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
behavioral automation has to be enabled, I think. Yeah.
Makes sense. Just a couple of more questions, Nick.
Sure,
I
sure.
know that we are just stepping out of the time, but still, I want because it's going so well. So I just want to, add
I'm happy.
a couple of questions there.
Sure,
Okay.
sure, sure. Go for it.
So one thing, like, what is that one metric where the marketing and sales team should work together to grow the company?
Oh, wow. Okay. I think anyone answering this with any answer can. like we'll always have a perspective bias over here. Okay. So I
Yeah.
will give my answer, but I will also give a reasoning for it. So
Ah.
whoever is listening to this without the reasoning, the answer is moot. Okay. I'm giving this disclaimer before I, okay. So I think if the company is at a stage where it has figured out product market fit, it has figured out certain initial TAM or like a target audience, right? And um, it is growing at a pace where, say, I'm giving an example of SaaS, right? It's growing at a pace of say at least 5 to 10 demos, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Or say like 2 to 3 demos a month. Okay.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I think that one metric that marketing and sales should be looking together is demos at the end of the day. Okay.
mm-hmm,
Or say intro calls to demos, right? Where it's all about the intro call converting to a demo, for example. Now, the reason is that everything marketing is doing at the end of the
mm-hmm,
day, even if it is doing a content hub activity, which will give 100K traffic 9 months down the line. Okay.
mm-hmm.
It is still your prerogative, right? Sales
Correct,
team will not
correct.
come and congratulate you for that, neither will the company, right? Because traffic
Exactly.
does not help unless it
Correct.
is doing something, right? On the other hand, even if you're say doing events, you're doing a lot of branding exercises, etc., etc., everything has a proxy metric, right? But
Mm-hmm,
all of those proxy metrics at the end of the day should be tied to demo. So what I'm saying is that there should be like a North Star, which is say like a demo. Okay. And then
correct.
you have certain proxy matrices, right? It could be literally to how many people came to my calendar link to schedule the demo, right? That could be a
Mm,
proxy metric. So even if like, or not that, or say the landing page where I'm promoting the demo, right? How many people came there? If that's 200 and if I'm having just 20 people converting to my demo, then either that page is really shitty and I need to optimize that, or probably those 200 people who are coming there are fooled into coming there. It's either of those two, right? So at the
correct,
end of the
correct.
day, what I'm trying to get at is everything that marketing does, be it content, be it paid campaigns, be it very strategic campaigns, or be it account-based marketing, anything that marketing is doing at the end of the day, at a short term or at a long term, be it now or in 3 months, all of that is going to convert at some level to a prospect business potential,
Mm,
right?
mm,
I'm
mm,
thinking from a very PNL level angle, right? Like obviously, a lot of things marketers do are to build communities, to build
mm,
influencers.
mm,
They will
mm,
have your
mm.
share of voice and all of that, and you have matrices for that. And I know that can't be connected to demo. I get that,
Correct,
right?
correct.
But that metric should be demo, I think, because everything that happens after a demo is what the sales team's prerogative is to close a deal, right?
Correct.
And then if you are able to bring in, say, 10, 20, 40 demos and sales team is still closing X number of revenue or X amount of revenue in 3 months, then sales team gives you all of those insights that, hey, all of these demos that you gave us, this is what the results is from all of them. And then you reverse engineer, again, a feedback loop from sales. So I
Correct.
think demo is that cutting point, you know,
Correct,
and
correct,
then
correct.
everything after that is like sales is owning up and you can't do much, but you can take feedback, right?
Exactly, exactly,
And just
exactly.
before that, sales is taking, like, say, sales is giving you inputs before that, right? Because they are
Correct,
talking to demo
correct.
folks, they are talking to people within the market, etc. And they
Mm,
are telling
mm.
you, hey, focus on this, focus on this, focus on this. So I think demo is that kind of a one thing
Makes sense,
in
makes
the
sense.
middle.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Even because I tell you why, from our perspective, right? So basically, our target audience is head of marketers, like basically growth managers,
right,
performance managers, demand and all. Like when we were reaching out to them, we got a very good advice from one of our marketing mentors. Like there is a constant friction which happens between the sales team and marketing team, that sales team always complains on the marketing whatever you do, that hey, you guys are not giving us the quality leads. Okay, so
correct,
our time in wasting in qualifying the leads rather than okay going and giving the demos or converting it
correct,
out, right?
correct,
So
correct, correct,
one strategy or one thing which we tweaked a bit, no, like in this case, okay, we reach out to multiple people in the organization, okay, and also we try to reach out to one, at least minimum of one sales guy. It's a kind
okay,
of okay, we show the pitch there is okay, See, with this tool, you will be getting quality leads. If your marketing team uses the custom fit, okay, because it will help you in generating the quality leads out. So there will be
Right.
internal push from the sales team to the marketing team that, okay, like it's a kind of a loop there, right? So, hey, why can't
Mm.
you use this tool? Check it out.
That's
That's a
very
kind of
interesting.
a push that really helped us in the big companies, like because where actually, there is a lot of friction. Where we try to understand how is the chemistry between the marketing and sales team. Okay, are there any complaints
Mm.
going on? Thing and these are all the set, whether it's engagement, like, or like what's the quality of the leads these guys. So then we push it to, the head of sales and all, and then we try to
Mm.
loop back fix there. That worked. That
That's
worked. Yeah,
yeah, that's interesting.
yeah. And yeah, going further, what metrics do you like? I guess you have answered this in a different way. Like, what metrics do you use to measure your post-click performance?
Okay, yeah. So I think we had a bit of this conversation earlier. So the way I look at it is, I think there are two parts. One is the objective part and one is the subjective part, right? So
Hmm.
when it comes to post-click, when you're looking at volume data, right? You look at objective matrices, right? You look
Hmm.
at page views, uh, average session duration, right? Next page, a lot of people miss that. What is the next page? How much is obviously the bounce, right? Uh, and these are mostly the objective matrices, right?
Correct.
And if you imagine one page, say your home page, right? And you have 10 different channels bringing in
Hmm.
traffic to your home page,
Hmm.
okay?
Hmm.
And say you have a quarter's traffic, right? 3 months
Hmm.
traffic in hand,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You then look at what is happening from the home page, okay?
Okay.
At an objective level. But at a
Correct. Correct.
subjective level, what you also do, okay, let's not take a home page. Let's take the free trial
Right.
page,
Okay.
okay?
Huh. Pricing
Or
model.
yeah,
Yeah.
pricing, any of those, right? And you do the same exercise. And for 3 months, you take the data, so it's statistically significant. And then you check out that for which channels, right? So
Hmm.
you then create sample sets, okay,
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
each
Hmm.
channel, right? So as to give each channel enough, weightage, right?
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
for each set, you then get into the subjective metric, which for me till now a lot has been heat maps and
Okay.
session
Okay.
recordings. So what I do is that for each segment, if it's like say 200 people coming to that page from
Hmm.
that particular traffic source, I will sample out say a particular geography of my interest of 2025 heat map sessions and see what are they doing. Uh, okay, it's showing that they are bouncing off after 7 seconds, but how is the bounce like?
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
just coming, rolling, going. What is happening? Are people doing force clicks? Are people actually scrolling at a speed where they are just skimming through the content or are they reading the content?
Got
Right?
it. Got
All
it.
of these different things. What is their mouse movement like? Is it
Hmm.
actually showing that they're actually reading something or is it just
Uh,
picking things? Right? Because different
uh,
people have different behaviors. Right? But you can
Makes
understand
sense.
when
Yeah.
people skim versus when people read. So I do
Correct.
that and it is a
Okay.
subjective
Okay.
analysis. And then I give those inputs, right? And then I
Hmm.
look at the objective and the subjective, and then I go back to the channel. And then I say that, okay, is this channel, what tweaks do I need to do here?
Uh-huh. Makes sense, man. Makes
Right?
sense.
Yeah.
Cool. And one thing, what do you prefer? Okay, working with a marketing agency or building a in-house team?
Okay. Hmm.
Because okay, you've gone through that thing, right? Basically, you from various companies, you understand the nuances, okay, what work, what
Yes,
can work,
yes,
or
yes.
what kind of timeline based on they just
Hmm.
started, or what kind of stage they are into.
So I'm going to give like a very, like an answer which will seem very basic, but I've come back to this answer after trying everything under the sun. Okay. Um, things which are, okay. So things which require a lot of understanding the product and
Hmm.
understanding the customer. Okay. Outcomes which require that input.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Fundamentally, those are things that I don't want to outsource. That's how I
Correct.
think.
Okay.
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 Now, except those core things,
Huh,
okay,
huh.
which I don't want to outsource at this point. That's majorly because I haven't made that particular project or experiment or exercise into a predictable process.
Hmm. Yeah, that's.
Okay. So once I have made it into, so I'll give you a real example, Right now we are doing reach outs at Delightree,
Okay.
right? So we personalized it to an extent where we were actually sending an image which is custom created for each brand with
Okay.
their location, their logo, and their operation task that can happen, studying
Okay.
their website. And we have done this for more than 200 folks,
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
In like 3 to 4 weeks, right? Now, I did all of that manually by myself.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now that I've done it at scale, I now know all the nuances. Now I can get an
Mm-hmm.
SDR, get that part done. I already have an agency who's fishing out all the leads, right? Like getting all the emails from brands. I know the process. So what I'm trying to get at is there are certain things,
This is very valuable.
there are certain things which you cannot outsource, which require extreme business acumen. Like I can't outsource giving a demo,
Correct. Correct.
obvious, right? But I can outsource maybe getting emails for my brands, right? I
Correct.
can't
Correct.
outsource say sending out emails. Maybe I can with an agency. Fair enough. But then I can't outsource the feedback conversations that I'll be having with people,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Then I can't outsource, say, uh, writing a newsletter, okay, which is our brand's voice, which goes out every 2 weeks. I want to make sure
Uh-huh.
that I write it or someone who knows the product, knows the industry inside out at this point is writing it. But when it comes to 30 content pieces a month, I can outsource it if the process has been optimized, which is what is happening right now. So I've outsourced it, right? Again, when it comes to say design, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I till now, till the last 1 year. So if you look at Delightree.com, it's built on Webflow, right? It took me like
Mm-hmm.
1 month to build that because I designed all of that in low fidelity mockup wireframes on Figma. And then I
Okay.
had a freelancer which I hired from uh, Upwork after
Okay.
interviewing
Okay.
20 of these and then got that guy in. This guy named Dan. He works out
Okay.
of Maltova,
Oh,
like close in Europe, right? And he has been working as a freelancer with me for the last 8 to 9 months.
oh, nice.
Whatever
Okay.
changes I do, he implements it on Webflow. I give him the low fidelity wireframe, he builds it in 1 day,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because in a 0 to 1 stage startup, you need to be very quick,
Yes.
right?
Yes. True. True. True.
So long story short, outsource anything and everything that is wasting your time, where you can give
Exactly.
that time to other things. But
Correct.
make
Correct.
sure the quality does not degenerate. And the only way you can make sure the quality does not go below the threshold is if your process is on the mark, where
Park.
you have the
Correct.
right
Correct.
validation checks,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And you know what to check and to make sure that if someone else is doing it, not go through everything, but to check certain things to make sure that it's on
Exactly.
par.
Exactly. Exactly.
That balance needs to be there. And I
No,
think
that's
that people should do, not outsource everything or just hire like 10 people and then fire them after 6 months because they don't need them
correct.
now.
Correct.
That
Correct.
doesn't work
Correct. Correct.
anymore.
No, exactly. And
Yeah.
the other thing is like what you told, very important thing is you need to go through that thing. You need to understand what is
Yeah,
what,
yeah, yeah. That
right? Then
that
only
is
you
true.
know that whether they are doing right,
Yeah,
wrong, what can be tuned for them.
exactly. Otherwise, they will come and give you certain excuses, and you'll be like, there is a
Yeah.
chance that he's right or he's not because he's making excuses. But if you
Correct.
know it inside out, you know it, right?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
And I think that's when outsourcing also helps because if you have done it in a particular way, if you have moved from point X to point Y in one way, and you
Mm-hmm.
go to an agency or something and say that, oh, this is working and blah, 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 but I need to scale it to 50x or whatever, 10x now. They will know that this way has already worked. They'll use three other ways.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So
Makes sense.
those things start happening. Yeah.
Good. Good. Who is your marketing mentor? Like basically, whom you look at, and like this
Okay.
is the time to give a shout out. Not one, like
Uh,
basically even you can say about any of your online or virtual mentors,
so
any
I'll be
of you.
honest with you. In the last, say, 2 to 3 years, I don't know, like the way my marketing career has evolved, right? What I've realized is that I don't have any more mentors like whom I love. There are quite a lot of mentors,
Uh,
to be honest. I keep talking to them from time to time, taking information, taking knowledge, advice. But for me, it has now become groups,
okay,
hubs.
okay,
Those are my mentors now
makes
because
sense, makes sense.
because they are qualified. Okay, so whatever
Mm, mm,
information
mm.
comes out of them, 7 out of or 8 out of 10 times, they are very good information. Okay.
Makes
So
sense.
one of this hub is PMA, Product Marketing
Okay.
Alliance. It's
Okay.
based out of the US, and they have an amazingly active Slack group of,
Oh,
I
is
think,
it?
more than
Okay.
2,000 people. Amazing Slack
Okay.
group, right? A lot of information, right?
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay.
Very, very useful information for product marketing. Some of the best product marketers, I think, like in really big companies also there. And when I say big, I'm like, yeah, like really good. That is one.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
other kind of mentor I would say is Demand Curve. So Demand Curve,
Okay.
they have this program and set of courses. They have an amazing newsletter, right?
Correct.
They have
Correct.
a newsletter that you want to actually like. I open it and then I again go to Gmail settings and type unread so that I can read it properly later, right? Demand Curve has a very good
Uh,
newsletter, very good content. Their courses are also pretty good, and they have very tactic level knowledge sharing that they do.
uh,
And except that, I also love marketingexamples.com. I love that guy. That guy gives like he analyzes these different types of marketing examples and like across different angles like CRO, email, uh, in sales, blah blah blah, and then categorizes them and little short stories of things that have worked, things that haven't worked, blah blah
oh,
blah.
okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
that
Okay.
is that I really love. And yeah, and very recently there is this group that I joined. So again, like over the last I think 4 or 5 years, there have been thousands of WhatsApp groups that people keep on joining. But there is this one group which I really like. Where is that? Yeah, so it's a Indian B2B tech marketers. It's a
Oh,
invite only group at this point. I got
okay.
invited
Okay.
to that one like I think 6 months back. A really good
Oh,
set of people,
oh,
and I think that's what it has come to. Maybe that's the stage I'm in my career right now, where I look for peers, I look for networks. We keep on sharing ideas very quickly, mutually
yeah.
discussing, figuring things like I have a meeting with a guy who heads marketing in another company right after this, where I'll be doing this.
Uh-huh. Oh,
So
sorry.
I think
Uh-huh.
it's no worries, no worries. I
Uh-huh.
think it's that at the end of the day, right?
Great.
Where you keep learning and you keep executing, and then you see what's
Mm-hmm.
worked for you, what's not. So
Makes
yeah.
sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, that's it's a kind of very widespread and like all like and also one good thing happened is the remote kind of the thing, right? Like you are part of a very remote group. For example, I am part of some UK marketers group, so it
Hmm.
wouldn't have been possible for me to like consider it's not a virtual
Exactly.
world, right? So
Exactly.
that's
Exactly. Yeah. 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 And I think that's like a shout out that I have for Delightree as well, because this is the first company that I've joined, which was a remote company even before COVID. It's not like COVID
okay,
made it
okay,
remote. This was a remote first company, and I work with folks who are in Barcelona, who are in California, who are in a different other parts. I was supposed to go to the US, but because of COVID, that didn't work out.
yeah,
But remote has been fascinating. Like I
great.
love it. Like if you can make sure that you have the right work-life balance, which you can control, and you don't go insane, then I think remote work is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, true, true. Because I was part of like all 12 years of my career, I was part of video conferencing industry. For example, Blue
Oh
Jeans
wow.
Network, I joined as a founding team member, employee number three for Blue Jeans.
Oh
Like all these
wow.
big companies like Facebook, LinkedIn, they use Blue Jeans for video conferencing, not the Zoom. We came from that background of building these kind of the high, flat, scalable software
Hmm.
system. Whatever maybe the traffic comes, it just works out of box. That's the exact
Mm.
same thing, or even a better thing what we put into CustomFit today, right? So that's the
Wow.
but yeah, the remote
Interesting.
thing was but one thing is to be very frank, we I never believed that remote team works. So during that time,
Mm.
basically the scope of
Right.
things has changed, and at that too when we started, we thought that it's a small team, we need to sit together. It's a kind of a
Mm.
collaborative work can
Mm.
happen.
Mm.
Everything is like now my team is
I
completely
think it's a state of mind. It's a state
correct,
of
correct,
mind. We
correct.
have
That
now
needs
been
to
forced to
correct,
get
correct.
into a state of mind. And I think human behavior is such that it tries to make the best out of everything.
True, true,
I think
true.
that's where we are at. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Final question, Neil. Like, what's one advice you want to give to the entry-level marketers for a successful career?
Oh my God. Okay.
Especially looking at the people
Um,
who are starting now,
right, right,
or
right.
they are in the not in the growth phase, they are about to jump, or how they can catch up to the growth phase thing.
Mm. I'm going to say things which will not sound pretty.
That's what is that's what we need.
So, okay, so okay, so currently I am mentoring, I think, close to 12, 13 people
Hmm.
who have just entered the digital marketing phases, right? Uh, One guy I was talking to 2 days back, he has 1 year of experience working in a performance agency, and he just got a job offer as a product marketer in like a seed funded startup, right? And he's now very excited. He's like, I want to become a product marketer. I want to become, this is the deal. This is the deal. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's discuss. What do you know about product marketing? What are you good at, etc., etc. So I'll tell you why I'm giving this slow story is because what I've realized talking to a lot of people who are entering the market right now is that A, it has become a lot more jazzy than what it
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
5 years back, right?
Correct.
What that means is that everyone is saying everything is amazing, which is fine. Everything is amazing, right?
Uh,
One of the things that is getting more and more amazement than everything else is product marketing because
Correct.
it's very simple, right? No one is stupid here. Like everyone understands SaaS is growing, right? 4 or 5 years, SaaS is going to be way more huge than what it is in India, just like in the
Hmm.
US, right?
Correct. Correct.
You need more SaaS marketers. They are mostly product
From
marketing
product
folks
marketing. Yeah.
who not really just from a product background. They are a lot of people who have product marketing understanding who also understand demand gen.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
hybrids of those folks would be the game changers
Correct.
in
Exactly.
SaaS
Exactly.
because what is going to happen is if you look at more and more of these SaaS companies, they are going to have less and less number of people working in those companies, which means that per unit worker
Correct.
has to
Correct.
be a dynamite of a guy who can do
Correct.
50 different things, right? So what I'm coming to is that there's a lot of fad that okay, product marketing is the best thing, or
Hmm.
content
Hmm.
marketing is not that good, SEO is like dead, performance marketing will be automated 2 years down the line.
Correct.
CRO has no future because companies are not evolved in the SaaS space here, blah blah blah. A lot of things are happening. A lot of people are saying a lot of things. My only advice to people who are coming in into this is uh, get into the job as soon
Hmm.
as possible. Probably get into one of the segments of digital which have a very high accountability. Something
Hmm.
like, say, paid marketing. Okay, I am not someone who is like a fighter or a vouch for paid marketing, right? But I know how much it taught me,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
To really be accountable for my actions.
Got
Okay,
it. Okay. Hmm.
so uh, get into digital with a very strong avenue. And the other reason I say paid is because in India, it still has a lot of opportunity, right? It's very difficult to enter marketing as a product marketer.
Hmm.
Very
Hmm.
few
Hmm.
people can crack that, right? Uh, so enter into any part which you really love. That is what is most important. But just
Hmm.
enter.
Hmm.
You can get into content also. And then from
Hmm.
content, you can get into organic and then you can get into communities, evangelism. You can then move into like product marketing from that angle. There are a lot of segues that you can move into, right? But get into one. And while you're in that, over the next few years, understand the broad aspect of marketing
Hmm.
everything across the sun. Study
Correct.
them,
Correct.
research them, do freelance projects, do it for free, right? For small clients, understand these in detail
Correct.
for
Correct.
at least a few years. And then once you have done that, that gives you a T-shaped kind of a view,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
have breadth, you have depth in one, you understand across. Then you need to understand that do you want to continue in that or then do you want to make a shift? Because that shift that
Correct.
you will
Correct.
make 3 years down the line in your marketing career should be sorted for you for the next 5 to 6 years. So that shift is
Got
very
it. Got
important. Do
it.
you want to stay where you are right now? Do you want to make a shift? But if you want to make a shift, you need to have that level of understanding of like by yourself that what a product marketer does. Okay, sorry, there's a lot of lightning
No,
going on
that's
here.
fine. Huh.
What a product marketer does, what a content marketer does, what a SaaS marketer does. So all of these are like, very like good things to look at, right? But people need to look at the real truth, right? Like I told this guy. whom I was talking to that uh, go and check out 100 SaaS companies in India, which are mostly in and around Hyderabad,
Hmm,
Bangalore,
hmm,
etc.
hmm, hmm,
Right?
hmm.
Look at all of their product marketers. You'll find like 200 LinkedIn profiles. Study those 200 LinkedIn profiles. See what descriptions they have given in their day-to-day life.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Then reach out to probably 20 of them and have interviews with two of them and try to understand what they do. And then see if you want to
Um,
reverse engineer and figure out whether you want to do that job or you want to have that life for the next 5 years.
Makes
Right?
sense,
So
man. This is
that's what people should be doing if they should be ready 3-4 years down the line right now. So
Man,
yeah,
this
I
is
think
really
that's
great piece of advice, like, this is the 11th episode, I guess. So this is the best answer I got in all the thing. And so detailed, right? So people can definitely, get into that. Yeah, thanks.
awesome. I think
Really
we
thankful.
overstressed a bit,
Yeah.
but it was a
Yeah, no,
great
that's fine.
conversation.
No, because I just went because the questions were getting so involved and the answers were coming, okay, so at a depth thing. I am sure that, okay, the viewers will get through this thing, understand, and there is a lot to learn from you, Neil. And they will
Amazing.
also, yeah, so definitely they will reach out to you in case, okay, they need to have a conversation with you. But yeah,
Sure.
thanks a
Sure, sure,
lot for
sure.
your time.
Yeah, and thanks a lot for having me. And I really hope that I've been able to add value. And yeah, Ashwin, thanks a lot for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Neil. Just a minute.